Question 1. Which of the following accurately describes the principle of indemnity in insurance contracts? A. The insured is compensated for the full replacement cost of a property regardless of the actual cash value at the time of loss. B. The insured receives a payout equal to their actual loss, ensuring they are restored to their pre-loss financial position. C. The insurer is obligated to pay for losses that exceed the policy limit set forth in the insurance agreement. D. The insured can collect insurance payments for both the original property value and any additional expenses incurred during the claims process. Answer. B. Explanation. The principle of indemnity is a fundamental concept in insurance that ensures the insured is compensated only to the extent of their actual loss. This means that the payout should restore the insured to the financial position they were in prior to the loss, without allowing them to profit from the insurance. This principle prevents the insured from claiming more than what was lost, thereby maintaining fairness in the insurance market. It is critical for adjusters to understand this principle as it guides the assessment of claims and helps determine the appropriate compensation amount according to the insured's actual cash value (SEV) or replacement cost value (RCV) calculations. Question 2. Mr. Thompson is a licensed insurance adjuster who has just received a claim involving significant water damage to a residential property due to a burst pipe. After conducting a thorough investigation, he discovers that the damage was exacerbated by the homeowner's failure to maintain the property. What should Mr. Thompson prioritize in his handling of this claim? A. Recommend denying the claim outright due to the homeowner's negligence. B. Document the findings and consult the policy to determine coverage while communicating transparently with the homeowner. C. Offer to negotiate a settlement based on the homeowner's previous claims history, disregarding the current investigation findings. D. Immediately report the homeowner to the regulatory authority for not maintaining their property. Answer. B. Explanation. In handling claims, the adjuster's primary responsibility is to evaluate the claim based on the facts and the terms of the insurance policy. Mr. Thompson should document all findings related to the cause of the damage and review the homeowner's policy to understand the coverage limitations, particularly in regards to maintenance issues. He should communicate these findings transparently with the homeowner to manage expectations. While negligence can impact coverage, it does not automatically result in denial, and therefore a careful evaluation of the policy terms, particularly exclusions regarding maintenance, is necessary. This approach aligns with ethical standards and best practices in claims handling. Question 3. What is the primary purpose of alternative dispute resolution? Other methods, such as mediation and arbitration in the insurance claims process. A. To provide a legally binding resolution that supersedes any prior agreements between the insurer and insured. B. To encourage amicable settlement negotiations that reduce litigation costs and time for both parties involved. C. To guarantee a favorable outcome for the insured, ensuring that their claim is fully paid regardless of the evidence. D. To establish a precedent for future claims based on the resolution reached in the current dispute. Answer. B. Explanation. The primary purpose of alternative dispute resolution methods, including mediation and arbitration, is to facilitate a resolution between parties that minimizes the costs and time associated with traditional litigation. A DR promotes an amicable environment for negotiation and encourages both parties to find a mutually acceptable solution. This process can often lead to faster resolutions, preserving relationships and reducing the adversarial nature of disputes. While the decisions reached in a DR may be binding in arbitration, the focus remains on negotiation and settlement rather than imposing a decision that could favor one party over another without consideration of the specifics of the claim. Adjusters must be familiar with a DR processes to effectively advise clients on their options for resolving disputes. Question 4. Which of the following statements regarding the South Dakota Division of Insurance is true? A. The Division of Insurance primarily focuses on collecting premiums from insurers. B. The Division of Insurance regulates insurance companies to ensure fair and equitable treatment of policyholders. C. The Division of Insurance is responsible for providing direct insurance coverage to residents of South Dakota. D. The Division of Insurance's primary role is to resolve disputes between policyholders and insurers without any regulatory authority. Answer. B. Explanation. The South Dakota Division of Insurance is a regulatory authority that oversees the insurance industry within the state. Its primary responsibilities include ensuring that insurance companies operate fairly and equitably while protecting the interests of policyholders. The division sets regulations that insurers must comply with, such as maintaining adequate reserves, providing clear policy terms, and conducting business ethically. The division does not collect premiums or provide insurance coverage directly. Instead, it focuses on regulatory compliance and consumer protection. Question 5. In South Dakota, which of the following would most likely be considered a prohibited practice for an insurance adjuster? A. Referring a claimant to an attorney for assistance with complex claims. B. Settling a claim for an amount less than the actual damages without the claimant's consent. C. Offering to help a claimant understand their policy's coverage and exclusions. D. Using technology to streamline the claims process and enhance communication. Answer. B. Explanation. Settling a claim for less than the actual damages without the claimant's consent is considered a prohibited practice. Adjusters have a fiduciary duty to act in good faith and in the best interest of the insured while adhering to ethical standards. This includes ensuring that claimants are fully informed about their rights and the details of their claims. It is unethical and potentially illegal to coerce or manipulate claimants into accepting settlements that do not reflect their true losses. The other options represent responsible and professional conduct within the industry. Question 6. Mrs. Gonzalez filed a claim under her homeowner's insurance policy after a storm caused significant damage to her roof. The insurance company has determined that the damages amount to $15,000. However, Mrs. Gonzalez's policy has a $1,000 deductible. How much will the insurance company pay her after the deductible is applied? A. $14,000. B. $15,000. C. $1,000. D. $16,000. Answer A. Explanation. In this scenario, the insurance company will pay the actual damages minus the deductible. The formula for calculating the payout is pay equals 15,000. 1/3 is equals 14,000. Thus, the insurance company will pay Mrs. Gonzalez $14,000 after the deductible is applied. This illustrates the importance of understanding policy limits and deductibles in claims handling. Question 7. Which of the following loss valuation methods is most likely to yield a higher payout for a policyholder with a recently purchased home that has appreciated in value? A. Actual cash value (ACV). B. Replacement cost value (RCV). C. Agreed value. D. Fair market value. Answer B. Explanation. Replacement cost value (RCV) is the method that will likely yield a higher payout for a policyholder in this scenario. RCV calculates the cost to replace damaged property with new materials of similar kind and quality without deducting for depreciation. Given that Mrs. Gonzalez's home has appreciated in value, the RCV approach will reflect the current cost of repairs or replacements based on current market rates, potentially exceeding the original purchase price. In contrast, the actual cash value (ACV) deducts depreciation from the replacement cost, which may result in a low payout. Understanding the implications of different loss valuation methods is critical for adjusters when assessing claims. Question 8. An adjuster must assess a claim for a personal liability incident where the claimant alleges injuries due to a slip and fall on a property. What is the most important factor to consider during the investigation? A. The insured's prior claim history. B. Whether the property was insured at the time of the incident. C. The presence of a written maintenance log for the property. D. The specific circumstances surrounding the incident and whether negligence can be established. Answer D. Explanation. The most important factor during the investigation of a personal liability claim, such as a slip and fall, is the specific circumstances of the incident and whether negligence can be established. Adjusters must determine if the property owner acted reasonably in maintaining the property and whether any hazards were present that contributed to the claimant's injuries. The elements of negligence, duty, breach, causation, and damages must be evaluated to assess liability accurately. While prior claim history and maintenance logs may provide context, the crux of liability claims hinges on the facts surrounding the incident and establishing fault. Question 9. In a situation where an insurance adjuster identifies a potential conflict of interest, what is the most appropriate action they should take? A. Ignore the conflict and proceed with the claim assessment to avoid delays. B. Disclose the conflict to their supervisor and recuse themselves from the claim. C. Attempt to resolve the conflict independently without informing anyone else. D. Inform the policyholder of the conflict and allow them to decide how to proceed. Answer B. Explanation. When an insurance adjuster identifies a potential conflict of interest, the most appropriate action is to disclose the conflict to their supervisor and recuse themselves from the claim. This approach ensures transparency and upholds ethical standards in claims handling. Conflicts of interest can impair the adjuster's objectivity, leading to biased decision-making. By recusing themselves, the adjuster allows for an impartial assessment of the claim, protecting the integrity of the claims process. An option is unethical and could lead to regulatory consequences, while options C and D do not adequately address the ethical obligations of the adjuster. Question 10. During a claims investigation, the adjuster discovers that the insured made misrepresentations about the property's condition when applying for insurance. What is the likely consequence of this discovery? A. The insurer is obligated to honor the claim regardless of the misrepresentation. B. The insurer can deny the claim and potentially cancel the policy due to material misrepresentation. C. The adjuster must notify the insured of the misrepresentation but cannot take any action on the claim. D. The insurer can only deny the claim if the misrepresentation was intentional. Answer. B. Explanation. When misrepresentations about a property's condition are discovered during a claims investigation, the insurer has the right to deny the claim and can also choose to cancel the policy based on material misrepresentation. Material misrepresentation occurs when false information is provided that affects the insurer's decision to issue the policy or the terms of coverage. Insurers are entitled to investigate claims thoroughly, and if misrepresentation is identified, it can lead to serious consequences for the insured, including denial of coverage. Understanding the implications of misrepresentation is crucial for adjusters in the claims assessment process. Question 11. A homeowner files a claim for water damage caused by a broken pipe. The adjuster discovers that the homeowner failed to maintain the plumbing system adequately. Which principle could the insurer invoke to deny the claim? A. Contributory negligence. B. Implied warranty of habitability. C. Exclusion for neglect. D. Subrogation rights. Answer. C. Explanation. The insurer can invoke the exclusion for neglect to deny the claim in this scenario. Most homeowner insurance policies include a provision that excludes coverage for damages resulting from the insured's failure to maintain their property adequately. This principle falls under the general rule of insurance contracts that states the insured must take reasonable steps to prevent damage. If the adjuster finds evidence that the homeowner neglected to perform necessary maintenance on the plumbing system, the insurer can deny the claim based on this exclusion. Question 12. What is the primary purpose of conducting a claims investigation? A. To minimize the payout for the insurance company. B. To assess the validity of the claim and determine the appropriate settlement. C. To provide the policyholder with an estimate of their damages. D. To comply with regulatory requirements without assessing the claim's merits. Answer. B. Explanation. The primary purpose of conducting a claims investigation is to assess the validity of the claim and determine the appropriate settlement. An adjuster's role involves gathering relevant information, evaluating the damages, and ensuring that the claim is legitimate. This process includes verifying the details surrounding the incident, inspecting damaged property, and reviewing relevant documentation. While minimizing payout may be a secondary concern for the insurer, the primary focus must remain on fairly and accurately determining the claim's validity and settlement amount. Question 13. In South Dakota, which of the following is NOT? A requirement for obtaining an adjuster's license. A. Completing a specified number of continuing education hours. B. Passing a written examination administered by the state. C. Being a resident of South Dakota. D. Having prior experience in a related field of insurance. Answer. D. Explanation. Having prior experience in a related field of insurance is not a requirement for obtaining an adjuster's license in South Dakota. The state primarily requires individuals to complete the necessary pre-licensing education, pass a written examination, and meet specific continuing education requirements to maintain licensure. Residency in South Dakota is also typically required, but experience in the field is not mandated for initial licensure. This allows individuals from various backgrounds to enter the profession. Question 14. Mr. Thompson is filing a claim for damages to his vehicle from a hailstorm. He has comprehensive coverage, but the adjuster finds that the damage exceeds the vehicle's actual cash value. What is the likely outcome of this claim under typical insurance policy terms? A. The claim will be denied since the damage exceeds the vehicle's value. B. The insurer will pay the actual cash value regardless of the damages. C. The insurer will cover the repair costs up to the policy limits. D. The insurer will provide a replacement vehicle at no cost. Answer. B. Explanation. In this scenario, the insurer will likely pay the actual cash value (SCV) of the vehicle regardless of the damages incurred. Comprehensive coverage typically pays for damages to a vehicle caused by incidents like hailstorms, but the payout is capped at the ACV of the vehicle at the time of loss. This amount considers depreciation, which means the insurer will not pay for repair costs that exceed the vehicle's current market value. Understanding how different types of coverage and loss valuation methods apply is crucial for adjusters in determining claim outcomes. Question 15. Which of the following is a key component of a liability insurance policy that must be reviewed by an adjuster when assessing a claim? A. The number of years the policy has been in force. B. The deductibles applicable to each claim. C. The limits of liability coverage specified in the policy. D. The insured's credit score at the time of purchase. Answer. C. Explanation. The limits of liability coverage specified in the policy are a key component that must be reviewed by an adjuster when assessing a liability claim. These limits determine the maximum amount the insurer will pay for claims arising from covered incidents. Understanding these limits is essential in evaluating whether a claim can be settled within policy constraints and to advise the insured accurately about their potential financial exposure. The other options, while potentially relevant in different contexts, do not directly impact the evaluation of the claim as significantly as liability limits do. Question 16. When assessing a property claim, what method should an adjuster use to determine the replacement cost of a damaged structure? A. Estimate the cost based on the original purchase price of the property. B. Assess the current market value of the property. C. Calculate the cost to rebuild using current labor and material prices. D. Use the depreciation value of the property as a baseline. Answer. C. Explanation. An adjuster should calculate the replacement cost by determining the cost to rebuild the damaged structure using current labor and material prices. Replacement cost does not take into account depreciation and represents the amount necessary to replace the property with a new equivalent. This method ensures that the insured can fully restore their property to its original condition without out-of-pocket expenses due to depreciation. Options A and B are incorrect as they do not accurately reflect the method for calculating replacement costs, and option D misinterprets the concept of replacement versus actual cash value. Question 17. An adjuster is evaluating a claim for a business interruption loss. Which of the following factors is AST relevant in determining the amount of loss? A. The length of time the business has been operating. B. The nature and extent of the damage that caused the interruption. C. The insured's profit margins prior to the loss. D. The personal circumstances of the business owner during the loss period. Answer. D. Explanation. The personal circumstances of the business owner during the loss period are the least relevant factor in determining the amount of business interruption loss. The primary considerations include the length of the business's operation, which can impact expected earnings, the nature and extent of the damage causing the interruption, and the insured's profit margins prior to the loss. While personal circumstances may affect the owner's experience, they do not directly impact the quantifiable loss incurred by the business due to the interruption, making option D the least relevant. Question 18. In a scenario where an adjuster identifies fraud in a claim submission, what should the adjuster do first? A. Immediately report the fraud to the police. B. Deny the claim without further investigation. C. Gather evidence of the fraudulent activity before escalating the issue. D. Notify the claimant of the suspected fraud and request an explanation. Answer. C. Explanation. The adjuster should first gather evidence of the fraudulent activity before escalating the issue. Thorough documentation and evidence collection are crucial to substantiate claims of fraud, ensuring that the insurer's response is based on solid facts. After sufficient evidence is obtained, the adjuster can then follow the appropriate procedures to report the fraud internally, which may involve notifying the insurance company's fraud unit. Options A and B do not allow for due process in fraud investigations, and option D could jeopardize the investigation. Question 19. Mrs. Allen has a policy that includes a clause for loss of use coverage. If her home is rendered uninhabitable due to a fire, which of the following would be covered under this clause? A. The cost of repairs to the home. B. The replacement value of her personal property. C. The cost of temporary housing while her home is being repaired. D. Loss of income from rental property she owns. Answer. C. Explanation. Loss of use coverage under Mrs. Allen's policy would cover the cost of temporary housing while her home is being repaired and after the fire. This type of coverage is designed to provide financial assistance for living expenses incurred due to the inability to use the insured property. It does not cover the cost of repairs, which fall under property damage coverage, for the replacement value of personal property, which is covered under personal property insurance, or loss of income from rental properties, which is a separate coverage consideration. Question 20. An adjuster is faced with a claim involving multiple parties, including the insured and a third-party claimant. Which principle is critical to understand when navigating liability in this situation? A. Vicarious liability. B. Comparative negligence. C. Absolute liability. D. Contributory negligence. Answer. B. Explanation. Comparative negligence is critical to understand when navigating liability in claims involving multiple parties. This principle allows for the allocation of fault among parties based on their respective contributions to the incident, affecting how much each party can recover in damages. In situations where both the insured and the third-party claimant may share responsibility for the incident, understanding how comparative negligence applies can impact the settlement discussions and potential payouts. The other principles mentioned, vicarious liability, absolute liability, and contributory negligence, may also play roles in specific scenarios, but comparative negligence is essential in assessing claims involving shared fault. Question 21. During an adjuster's inspection of a property after a windstorm, they discover that the roof is damaged, but that the damage is exacerbated by pre-existing wear and tear. How should the adjuster approach this claim? A. Deny the claim since there is pre-existing damage. B. Only cover the cost of repairs related to the windstorm damage. C. Provide a full payout based on the total estimated damages. D. Only cover the replacement cost of the roof, regardless of the cause. Answer. B. Explanation. The adjuster should only cover the cost of repairs related to the windstorm damage. Most insurance policies include a provision that excludes coverage for pre-existing conditions or damage. Therefore, the insurer is responsible only for the portion of the damage that directly resulted from the covered peril, in this case the windstorm. This approach aligns with the principle of indemnity, which aims to put the insured back in the position they were in before the loss occurred without providing a profit from the claim. Question 22. What does the term underinsurance refer to in the context of property insurance? A. When an insurance policy has a higher coverage limit than the value of the property. B. When the coverage amount is insufficient to replace the insured property fully. C. When the insured does not carry any insurance coverage. D. When the insurance policy includes multiple perils that are excluded. Answer. B. Explanation. Underinsurance refers to a situation where the coverage amount is insufficient to fully replace the insured property. This can lead to significant out-of-pocket expenses for the insured in the event of a loss, as they may not receive full compensation for their losses. It is important for policyholders to regularly assess their coverage needs to avoid this situation, especially in cases where property values fluctuate. Question 23. In the context of liability insurance, what is the primary difference between occurrence coverage and claims-made coverage? A. Occurrence coverage applies to incidents occurring during the policy term, while claims-made coverage applies to claims made during the policy term. B. Claims-made coverage is always cheaper than occurrence coverage. C. Occurrence coverage does not cover bodily injury claims, while claims-made coverage does. D. Claims-made coverage only applies to property damage, while occurrence coverage applies to personal injury. Answer. A. Explanation. The primary difference is that occurrence coverage applies to incidents that occur during the policy term, regardless of when the claim is made, while claims-made coverage only covers claims made during the policy period, provided the incident occurred after a specified retroactive date. This distinction is crucial for adjusters when evaluating claims and understanding policy implications, as it affects the timing and potential liability for covered incidents. Question 24. What should an adjuster do if they suspect that a claim might involve fraudulent activity? A. Immediately reject the claim and inform the insured. B. Conduct an extensive investigation and gather evidence before taking further action. C. Report the claim to law enforcement without notifying the insurer. D. Process the claim as usual and flag it for future reference. Answer. B. Explanation. If an adjuster suspects fraudulent activity, they should conduct a thorough investigation and gather evidence before taking further action. It is important to document any irregularities or suspicious circumstances that might indicate fraud. After gathering sufficient evidence, the adjuster should follow the appropriate procedures established by their insurer for handling suspected fraud, which may include notifying the Fraud Investigation Unit. Immediate rejection of the claim without evidence could expose the insurer to legal liability. Question 25. In South Dakota, what is the statute of limitations for filing a lawsuit related to a property insurance claim? A. 1 year. B. 2 years. C. 5 years. D. 10 years. Answer. B. Explanation. In South Dakota, the statute of limitations for filing a lawsuit related to a property insurance claim is typically 2 years from the date of loss or damage. This time limit is important for both adjusters and insured parties to understand, as it affects the ability to pursue legal action if there is a dispute over a claim. Failure to file within this period may result in the loss of the right to seek judicial relief. Question 26. An adjuster is assessing a claim for an auto accident where both parties are partially at fault. What type of negligence rule does South Dakota follow? A. Contributory negligence. B. Comparative negligence. C. Vicarious negligence. D. Assumption of risk. Answer. B. Explanation. South Dakota follows the comparative negligence rule. This means that if both parties are found to be at fault in an accident, damages can be awarded based on the degree of fault attributed to each party. For example, if one party is found to be 70% at fault and the other 30%, the damages awarded to the less at fault party would be reduced by their percentage of fault. Understanding this principle is critical for adjusters when evaluating claims and negotiating settlements. Question 27. Which of the following statements is true regarding exclusion clauses in insurance policies? A. They provide additional coverage for specific risks not typically covered. B. They outline situations or conditions under which coverage will not apply. C. They are mandatory components of all insurance contracts. D. They automatically increase the coverage limits for certain risks. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Exclusion clauses in insurance policies outline specific situations or conditions under which coverage will not apply. These clauses are designed to clarify the limits of the insurer's liability and protect the insurer from unforeseen risks. It is essential for adjusters to understand these exclusions when assessing claims, as they will dictate whether or not coverage is available for certain types of loss or damage. Question 28. When dealing with claims involving natural disasters, what is the typical adjustment approach an adjuster should take regarding the claims process? A. Treat all claims as fraudulent until proven otherwise. B. Expedite the claims process to ensure timely settlements for affected policyholders. C. Automatically deny claims that exceed a certain threshold of damages. D. Rely solely on computer-generated estimates without conducting physical inspections. Answer. B. Explanation. In the case of natural disasters, the typical adjustment approach is to expedite the claims process to ensure timely settlements for affected policyholders. This approach is crucial because disaster-affected individuals may be in urgent need of funds to repair their homes or replace lost property. Adjusters should still perform thorough investigations and assessments, but streamlining the process helps provide relief to those affected by catastrophic events. Question 29. An insurance policy includes a deductible clause. What is the purpose of a deductible in an insurance contract? A. It reduces the overall premium costs for the insured. B. It specifies the maximum payout the insurer will provide. C. It establishes a portion of the loss that the insured must pay out of pocket before coverage applies. D. It increases the total coverage limits available to the insured. Answer. C. Explanation. A deductible is the portion of the loss that the insured must pay out of pocket before the insurance coverage applies. This clause helps to prevent minor claims and encourages policyholders to be more responsible with their property by assuming some risk. Understanding how deductibles function is important for adjusters when determining the amount payable for claims, as it directly affects the settlement amount the insured will receive. Question 30. In assessing a liability claim for a slip and fall incident on a business property, which of the following elements must generally be established to prove negligence? A. The injured party was trespassing. B. The business owner had a duty of care towards the injured party. C. The business owner has a history of previous claims. D. The injured party did not contribute to their injuries. Answer. B. Explanation. To prove negligence in a slip-and-fall incident, it must be established that the business owner had a duty of care towards the injured party. This duty arises from the obligation to maintain a safe environment for customers or visitors. The other options are incorrect, being trespassing can negate the duty of care. A history of previous claims is not relevant to the current case, and the injured party's contribution to their injuries pertains to the comparative negligence assessment but is not a prerequisite for establishing the business owner's negligence.